Good morning, buddy. Well, good morning. Welcome back to the garden. Today is Sunday, May 7th. We're going to turn some compost. We've got our compost system set up. 1, 2, finish compost. We've been putting a lot of kitchen scraps in number 1. And this provides a lot of green. We haven't turned this all winter, so we're going to go ahead and turn some browns in on this, add some more greens. We'll talk about compost. Dried hay. This dried hay and sticks right here, that was over the finished compost over in that third bin. This was just covering the compost that we put into those bags. I just threw it up on here to get started. But we got quite a bit of leaves and hay in here. Once I removed that initial layer of brown that I just set on top the other day, look how nice this is broken down. But we're going to go ahead and mix this in with this other pile, get it heated up and finish it up. And they'll be ready for more containers or to put straight on the garden. Hot compost like this might be a little faster, but it's a lot more work. Beats going to the gym, I guess. See how dark and rich and beautiful, and see all that life that's still moving around in there? That tells you that there was plenty of oxygen. And this pile right here is basically done. I got a little bit of dry on top. I'm probably going to turn some of this into the garden. Let's go ahead and finish building this first pile. On top of the greens, which were the kitchen scraps originally, we put a layer of dry brown, then we put a layer of finished compost, and then we're going to go ahead and add some more kitchen scraps, some more green. And that's coffee grounds. Oh, I guess we got some leaves in that bucket. That's just the prunings around the kitchen. If you haven't started mowing and you don't have any really good green grass, you can always pick the weeds around the edges. And weeds work really good for green. So what I did this morning, I went and cleared an edge or two. Kind of spread it out, layer it in here. So then I want to add a little more brown. If you've got dogs or cats and you vacuum, just save that fur. That works really good in the compost pile. And all your old letters, you can just go ahead and shred those up. And you can tell Riley's been shedding pretty good. It's springtime. Another good brown, you can just take your paper bag. Leave that in there. Then we'll go ahead and put another layer of this nice three-quarter compost. If you're going to do a hot compost, one of the keys is try to get your edges back in the middle so they have a chance to heat up. Now there's a couple different ways of composting. If you're going to do a hot compost, you need to build your pile at least 3 feet high, 3 feet wide, 3 feet deep. 4 or 5 feet works better. You want to make sure you got plenty of air in there and a mixture of browns and greens, and it will heat up and it'll kill all seeds, all viruses, all other pathogens. The other method is cold composting, where we just spread it out on the garden 4, 5, 6 inches deep. We let the life in the soil take care of it. Both methods, what we're really trying to do is get a really nice colony of good bacteria and good fungus to break down the sand, silt, and clay, which makes up your soil, which then is eaten by little bigger predators, which makes plant soluble nutrients right there at the root zone. Just keep making layers all the way up. And being spring, you're going to have tons of opportunities to get weeds before you even start mowing. Now, one thing about fresh mown grass in a compost pile, it will heat it up really fast. And sometimes you just use what you've got. Now, on the way back from yesterday's field trip, I had to stop by the mulch pile. I was planning to do this, and I did want to get some wood chips in on top and at least one layer. And as a friend of mine said, I turn garbage into gold. And it was amazing to me, there were more people going into the compost yard, taking in the tree limbs, than bringing out compost. And this stuff is beautiful. And they give it to you. And it was warm enough yesterday, I didn't want to unload. So I thought this morning would be a perfect time. And you can see the steam coming off of here. That's not warm, that is hot. So that's already breaking down, and that's coming off the main pile. I'm adding this nutrients to the pile. What do they say? One man's trash is another man's treasure. Just look at the steam coming off of that. Last year I had a broken ankle and I wasn't able to mulch the outside of this garden. So this year we're going to go ahead and do what we should have done last year and tidy this up a little bit. So you see we got a few little weeds growing. Now that we've warmed up, we're going to go on in the garden. We're going to have to plant a couple things. You know that new rule, we got to plant something every time we come out to the garden. And we were on a road trip yesterday. I stopped by the feed store and they had just a handful of potatoes left, and he made me a great deal. He said, you get them out of here, you can have them. So come on, let's plant. Yeah, we just kind of roost out and drop them in there. Take our mulch, cover them back up. Easiest potato planting you'll ever do. Remember, you can do this too. Just work at it a little each day and it'll get out of hand just like mine has. No, you can do this too. And this is the easiest kind of gardening I've ever had to do. Virtually no weeds. The mulch feeds the soil. The hardest work you're gonna have to do in the garden is harvest. You wanna pile this on 4 inches thicker. That way you'll stop the weeds. It's not gonna be quite as hot as it was yesterday, but it's still warming up nicely. I think I'm gonna go to the house and get a cold drink. If you wanna learn more about the deep mulch, click that link right there and I'll meet you right back in the garden. If you wanna learn about the living soil, click that link and I'll meet you right back here in the garden. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.